Welcome to the Fear and Greed Daily Interview. I'm Sean Aylmer. There aren't many businesses that can lay claim to the kind of growth achieved by today's guest. Shopper only launched 6 years ago, quickly carving out and expanding a niche in the highly competitive advertising space. You may well have seen Shopper at work. They're behind many of the digital billboards in shopping centres. But these are billboards with a difference, driven by sharp technology to target consumers in a way that out-of-home advertising rarely has done before. It's a pretty impressive story. Ben Walker is founder and CEO of Shopper. Ben, welcome to Fear and Greed.
Yeah, thanks, Sean, and it's lovely to be here. Thanks very much for your time.
So when I'm going down the escalators in my local shopping centre, I see these huge billboards roll in front of me, and as I'm walking into the local supermarket and I'm reading kind of products for sale and that type of thing, that's you guys?
That's exactly right. Yes, that's us. We're in over 420 shopping centres around Australia.
Great. Now, I mentioned the growth of Shopper over the past 6 years. Can you take me through some of the figures? Because these are pretty incredible growth rates.
Well, look, obviously we had a modest start, as any startup does, but by 2019, so we started trading in 2016, by 2019 we were achieving 85% year-on-year growth in an industry that was nowhere near that. 2020, obviously we were hit by COVID. We had 14% growth last year, which was incredible given that the out-of-home industry was about 40% backwards.
Yeah.
So we still had pretty good growth. And this year, in calendar year to date, we're up to around about 70% growth year on year.
Wow, that's great.
So we've got some pretty impressive figures.
Your billboards, though, are kind of billboards with a difference. They're smart billboards, and it's all about the technology. Can you explain that to me?
Yeah, that's exactly right. We had the luxury of starting with a blank canvas back in 2015 when we started the company. As I said, we started trading in 2016, but had spent a year setting the place up. But one of the things that we really realised was that digital billboards and your mobile phones and devices will one day speak to each other. And we realised that getting the message onto the digital billboards usually will be done by a wireless dongle, which is effectively a mobile phone in the back of the panel, or it can be done through Wi-Fi. Now, Wi-Fi is a much more expensive exercise, but what Wi-Fi allows us to do is it allows us to collect all sorts of mobility data. So in effect, we see every single phone that comes into our environment. We understand how long it stays, time of day of week, and how often it comes. So we're able to collect a lot of really intelligent data about the environments that our panels exist in. This is very valuable to the property owners who use our data to understand peak trading and things like that, but also really valuable data for our advertisers. As an example, when COVID struck, we were the only out-of-home company in Australia that had any form of mobility data plan. So we were able to understand what was going on with our audience in real time back in 2020 when COVID struck. What we were able to see, one of the key things that we saw was because we were in your local shopping centre, so convenience-based, during the panic buying, we saw our audience actually increased by 15% on Christmas trading of 2019.
Wow.
So we were able to see what was going on in real time. As the panic buying subsided and you had to line up to get into the supermarket, we saw increases in dwell time. So all of this we were able to see in real time.
So where does the data come from?
Oh, look, we get our data sources from many different places. So obviously we've got the Wi-Fi data, but we've also got a platform that we call Shopper AI, which is an amalgamation of a number of data sets, including all of the Roy Morgan data, Nielsen scan data, virtually everything, every bit of government data that there is. There's socio-economic information for areas. So we were really able to geographically pinpoint local communities. Because our local shopping centres have quite tight catchment areas, we're really able to understand the exact audience. I'll give you an example. Right now, we know that Southwest Sydney's got a real problem with infection rates of COVID. We also know that there's some language issues out there. So we are running a campaign for the New South Wales government right now in a number of different languages with the appropriate language in the appropriate areas out in Southwest Sydney.
Wow, incredible. So, I mean, in a sense, the use case for this is well beyond advertising. There's a social use case as well.
Oh, absolutely. The state and federal governments are probably one of our biggest advertisers right now because we are absolute experts at targeting local communities.
Wow. And so the actual technology, what you're saying kind of makes sense to me. And it's not even like it's a huge jump in technology, it's a big usage of data, and obviously you have the ability to manage that data, but otherwise it's just like a smart idea.
Yeah, that's pretty right. Pretty accurate right there.
Yeah.
We are doing other things. That our network is 100% digital. As I said, we started with a blank canvas, so we were able to set our platform up only having best technology. We don't have any of the static poster signage that many other players do have. And what that allows us to do is really focus on the benefits of digital advertising. As an example, we have recently done a campaign for a retailer where we were able to plug an API into their booking system. And rather than talking about come and buy cheap something or other here, I can't mention the advertiser's name,
Yep.
we were able to say you can actually go and get a test for the product that the retailer is selling.
Mm-hmm.
And there's 19 tests in this shopping centre available today. So, this is the sort of leaps and bounds we're going in with the technology.
Wow.
So it's very, very exciting. We hope to be doing something similar for COVID testing in the not too distant future.
It's a long way from traditional out-of-home advertising.
It's a very long way from traditional out-of-home advertising. I won't say that the industry is not, we're all trying to do this. However, having the Wi-Fi and the digital network plus all of the data allows us to probably put a greater focus on it because we don't have to worry about getting traditional advertising or what they call classic posters and billboards sold.
Stay with me, Ben, and we'll be back in a minute. My guest this morning is Ben Walker, founder and chief executive officer of Shopper. So where does this go? I mean, in a sense, you have a first mover advantage, and I'm sure others will follow. Where do you see the future for this sort of technology and AI? Where can it take your company and me as a consumer? What will I be seeing in the future?
Oh, look, we own, as does every other out-of-home company, we own the physical assets. So everything physically you see within the shopping centres that we're in, that's us. However, because of the Wi-Fi, we also own the virtual assets. So very soon we'll be launching new products that allow us to take people on a journey through the virtual space. And when I say that, I mean that when you log on to the Wi-Fi, you will have a much more meaningful experience. You might be able to sample products up there or apply to be someone that advertisers can send products to. You might be able to participate in research. There's many, many different things that we'll be able to do. And again, when people do log on to the Wi-Fi, we have an opportunity to survey them as they're logging on. And we've got about 160,000 people a month logging onto our Wi-Fi platform. So we're surveying that many people each month. Just recently, we did a survey of 12,000 people, and we're able to understand that probably one of the main reasons people are not getting vaccinated as fast as they can is that they don't know how to get it done and where to get it done and where it's available, which is a real issue that we hope to address.
So what will your business look like in 5 to 10 years' time?
Look, we are very much a technology business that happens to be an out-of-home business as well. So we really look forward to making the virtual out-of-home space a much bigger part of the business. And we seek to be the number one retail media provider in Australia. I think we're not far off from being that in that space.
I'm just interested, Ben, what's your background? How did you get into this?
Oh, look, I'm an out-of-home tragic. I'm not going to lie. I've been in the industry for over 20 years now. I've worked at various companies in the industry, but spent about 15 years working for other people. I decided to leave, not necessarily to start this business, just because I wasn't enjoying employment at a previous employer. But then I could see that there was a real gap in the industry and that retail out of home was not at its best. It was not as good as it could be, and that there was a significant amount of local shopping centres that just were not being looked after as they should have. And I could see that, through building a digital network in local shopping centres around the country and putting the Wi-Fi in, allowing for the virtual space to be fulfilled, was a real opportunity for advertisers and shopping centre owners.
And you enjoy the whole startup community, having been a tragic for so long?
I love the startup community. I really, really am passionate about it. It's been a hell of a journey for us. I cannot even begin to tell you the amount of hiccups and bumps we've had along the way, the many thousands of times we've relooked at the P&L, trying to understand what the implications of certain things that happen along the way are. We've had legal battles. We've had all sorts of things thrown at us that are really curveballs, but many people have likened us to a cat with 9 lives, and I think we've probably been through 8 of them. But here we are, and we're doing very well.
Well, you're on the road now. Ben, thank you for talking to Fear and Greed.
Yeah, thank you, Sean. Cheers.
That was Ben Walker, founder and CEO of Shopper. This is the Fear and Greed Daily Interview. Join me every morning for the full Fear and Greed podcast with all the business news you need to know. I'm Sean Aylmer. Enjoy your day.